before getting into the specifics of the bridge, I just want to tell you a little bit about why we tick. We're a video as a service, or VAS, or managed service provider. Our specialty is integrating a unified communications platform. We're not afraid of your network. We can handle the quality of service issues that come up, and we can deploy this from the desktop to the boardroom. But we have things that we're really, really good at, and we have other things that we need to partner to get done. And so we're completely certified on the ShoreTel infrastructure. We know their services inside and out, and we have some powerhouse partners that help deliver that. We have our own SIP and colo infrastructure that allows us to manage this end to end, and we operate our own help desk so that if you've got problems, we're not going to point at network and ask you to fix that and call us back so we can work on the camera. We know that this has to be a fully integrated solution. We know that your end users are going to have questions, and so you can outsource your help desk to us or to our help desk partner, Pixel River, or we can enhance your help desk with the right SLAs. And so it's a fairly easy process with us. We want to make sure that we make that video collaboration easy. And then we have a guarantee on our services. There's two of them that I think are relevant for you kicking the tires at this point. We are absolutely happy to do a demonstrable TCO guarantee, or total cost of ownership guarantee. If you're looking at a solution that's worth $50,000 or more, and quite frankly, we've done this on solutions worth less, we know that all in, that solution should give you a guaranteed 2-year ROI. We are willing, if you work with us on the factors that create an ROI and that total cost of ownership review, we are willing to take a look at that at year 1. And if we haven't delivered and can't estimate that we're going to deliver by year 2, we will refund you the margin on the product that we sold to you, because we're that confident in our ability to deliver and to do this right in your business that you should be risk-free in that purchase. The final piece of this is that that guarantee is, we don't want to waste your time. So take a meeting with me, a demo with Mike, a demo with Tommy, or any of our sales agents. And if that demo doesn't leave you better educated about your options in video and feeling more confident about the solution, we'll pay you for your time. So the call to action on this, obviously, you're seeing a bridge in action. You're seeing us collaborate across multiple points. But really, seeing in your own environment is going to be what makes it work. And so while you're looking at a bridge on this call, I think it's going to be better if we have the opportunity to demo in your environment. If you don't know who we are and you want to know more, you can surf out at our website. We're very active on social media, so you can find us on all the Faced, LinkedIn, Insta socials, and you're welcome to peruse there. Alex manages that, so if you see something you really like, make our day and click on it. I actually get a lot out of that too, so please indulge us if you want to find out where we are. Where our websites are in the middle of being upgraded, they're still clear enough to tell you a little bit about who we are and what we do and why we do it. You've tuned in to learn a little bit more about the LifeSize product based on the invite. And so if you're interested in surfing for them directly, just go directly to their website, lifesize.com, navigate over to products, and then down into infrastructure. What we're going to be talking about is bridging. All of the user guides and data sheets that they have are available publicly, so surf away there. Call Mike for them. We'll be glad to get these for them. But LifeSize essentially offers 2 bridges. One is an appliance called the Bridge 2200, and that's the appliance that we're connected to on now. And the other is the UBC multi-point bridge, and the data sheets you'll see are here. So you've got the MCUs, and then you'll see the UBC platform. The content around bridging is really going to be driven by looking at the UBC platform and what they call the UBC multi-point. Oftentimes we get a question of, can these bridges work together? And absolutely, you can register the bridges so that if you've got your own legacy Scopia bridge or a Cisco bridge, and you want to use that capacity in conjunction with this or multiple LifeSize bridges or their software bridge, what I can say is absolutely we can federate these devices through the ClearC software and make those port capacities available for users on the system. Why bridge? Ultimately, we we bridge because we want more than 2 people to call. Most of the endpoints or most of the desktop software is designed at this point for point-to-point calling. A lot of the cloud bridges can do desktop clients in a bridge perspective, but I'm going to transition into the sort of the nuts and bolts of the platform and why this particular bridge, not bridging in general. But again, you're tuned into something that's showing you a bridge. It's multi-people on screen, and quite frankly, I'm going to ask Alex, Mike, and Melissa to unmute to show that, like, while I'm in a lecture-only mode, we can actually unmute and have a natural conversation. So, Mike, Alex, Mel, I know you got a little background noise of a fan there, but go ahead and unmute. And there's Mel's fan. Thank you. And Alex, has there been anything that's come in on chat? Looks like Mike's on the phone, so he's not going to unmute. That's perfectly fine. So, nothing in on chat?
Nope, doesn't look like it. But as a reminder, I have put a few attachments on there. So even if you don't have any questions, you can still see the product matrix and all that.
So by design, we want everyone to be able to participate. Mel, why don't you go ahead and say hello? All right. Say something.
Hello.
Right.
I didn't want to interrupt you.
Yeah, perfectly fine. And bridges should act like a natural family. We have the ability to interrupt each other, talk over each other, which I usually do, or all have the mics open and be able to participate. Because we know our phones may ring or people may interrupt, Mel and Alex, I'll just say go ahead and mute out again just in case so that the recording stays clean. So that's a bridge. It's Brady Bunch. It's Hollywood Squares. It's multiple people on connection by design so that you all can participate, share content like I'm doing. We maintain by design the ability to transcode. So every leg in contains a recording, and that takes some processing power. And so as that leg comes in, you get to change the layout if you want. So I'm on the bridge utility, and I can push out a particular layout, unlock a layout, and force the behavior of the bridge, and I just change it to eliminate a couple of the squares. So we have the ability at the bridge level to change the way people experience, if we choose to, put it in lecture-only mode or show content. At the video center, you'll see that you can toggle that same experience. So you can see the video side of it, you can see the content sharing side of it, or you can see my camera. So I'm going to go ahead and press the share content button, and what you'll now get on the recording is both my camera and my content. So for all intents and purposes, we want to maintain the integrity of doing camera and content, have the bridge be able to toggle and change, and then you as the end user, which for most people is what's really highly functional about this infrastructure. So stop content and that piece. If nothing else, it should act as a projector when not in use. I've used the term UVC and bridge interchangeably, and they are different. So UVC is unified video communications. You'll also hear some people say unified video collaborations. It's LifeSize product name for the platform. And it's at the platform level that you make sure the ecosystem is healthy. It's here that you can integrate to LDAP. It's here that you can create users and groups, do your systems upgrades, check the system's health, and enable applications and provision your licenses. So the platform decides how the software behaves. Going forward, LifeSize's portfolio is going to be 4 primary products. You'll see others that are grayed out. They represent some legacy products that LifeSize has had. Most of the functions of these are assumed by ClearC. And so you'll see Video Engine and Transit and Manager Proxy. Those are all about how do I enable a gateway or a firewall or a security device in my video ecosystem. ClearC can do that. Prior to LifeSize purchasing the Muriel infrastructure, which is where the ClearC name came from, they needed separate standalone products. So if you're a customer with third-party transit gateways, we can use ClearC to replace that. We can also integrate with your legacy infrastructure. Multipoint, quite frankly, is a bridge. You'll hear some of our competitors say that we cannot do transcoding. The downside of not being able to, which is not true, the downside of not being able to transcode would mean that the lowest common denominator into a call creates a bad call for everyone else. And so the nature of bridging in some ecosystems is that when we see a bridge call, you're rendering one feed. What's true about LifeSize and why this takes some horsepower is that anyone who calls in receives what they send. And that's the nature of what transcoding can do for you. So when we set up a bridge, we configure it based on ports. And you can see here that if I were to render this call in 1080p, I'm going to take up 2 of my port capacity because this bridge has 8 ports built into it. By the way, you can buy this bridge in 5-port increments. There's a SKU for 1-port increments. And on any of these ports, you can get a 2 or a 4-to-1 return. And so if I'm going to do this call at 720p, which on a Hollywood Squares is high definition enough for most people, even on a big 90-inch television, you're going to get yourself your 720p. If I split that in half, I can get a 2-to-1 return. So if I go to 480p, which again on a call like this would be sufficient and perfectly fine, you're not going to notice the 480p pixelation for 6 people on a call that you would if it was just one person on a 90-inch television. And then we can integrate voice calls or lower 360p resolution, so I can turn this 8-port bridge into a 32-port bridge. And we most often see that when we're going to mobile devices. In the real world, we're seeing very few customers who need a bridge that has more than 7 or 8 people on camera. Because as soon as you start getting 7 or 8 people on camera, those distracted people, those eating breakfast, are on camera. They don't want to be. So rather that most of our customers are buying a bridge and Video Center in conjunction with the bridge, so those that need to see the content, like you, can watch it as an active stream rather than as someone on camera. This can be deployed as a software, which is what we've done, or as an appliance. So the LifeSize bridging story is either do an appliance and put that in your colo, do a virtualized deployment and put that in your infrastructure, and we enhance that story by saying, if you want to take the LifeSize appliance and put it in our colo, we will. If you want it virtualized and put it in our infrastructure, we will. Or if you want, quite frankly, to buy in the cloud and you don't want any of these problems, we can actually go to a LifeSize hosted solution, a BlueJeans hosted solution, or a perfect video conferencing cloud. Great. So, Mike, I know I gave you a 5-minute warning. I think it looks like you may still be on the phone. Wave me off if you don't want to talk. Perfectly fine if you don't. I think he's muted us out. So I do want to set up a call so you can actually see what it looks like to actually provision one of these and where all of that comes in and the flexibility that you have. So if I'm going to create a new call, and Mike has done this quite a bit. He's had to do some lecture-only calls. What we like about this is that you can actually put an intuitive password on there. You can change your resolutions. But then you can also, from the bridge setup, invite in participants. So that as any time when someone calls into that bridge, those participants that are static members of that bridge get called. And so let's say you have an accounting department that meets every Monday. You can set up a static bridge that has the participants in the accounting department, be it based on codec or at ClearC, and those participants will be dialed as soon as anyone dials into. So, for example, I'm going to add Melissa. Are you Melissa at cs.globalcall.com, or Mel? I forget what we put you in there as. Do you know? What do you log in as? You'd have to unmute to answer that question. Sorry, I didn't give you a warning.
Yes, I would. I was double checking. I'm Vega at cs.globalcall.
Great.
Yeah.
So you can enter someone in as an individual by ID and add them in, or you can enter them in by IP address. and you can choose your protocol. So we're SIP and H323 compliant. You can choose a voice call and put a PSTN number in there. So if I added this call in for that IP address, chose it was an H323, I can choose its bit rate if I know they have bandwidth issues. As soon as anyone dials into, press OK. I have to save this first. So it's conference 1013. Test, no password. As soon as anyone dials into that conference room 1013, we would absolutely dial out to 10.1.5.69 and dial that endpoint. If you wanted to render a call with shared encoding, and sometimes you may because of bandwidth constraints, you actually have the ability to turn that on. So our competitors will say, well, they either do shared encoding and then the one person dumbs it down, or that they can't do shared encoding. And so what I will say is that we absolutely can do either. More often than not, we turn off the shared encoder, turn off self-view, and let everyone see what they send. So if I've got a fat internet connection and a great camera, why shouldn't I see the meeting in great quality? Great. Other things are more sort of cosmetic or preferential. We have multi-language support, which our customers really love. You can change where the bridge instructions show up, so to customize that. And then you can lock in a bit rate or a bandwidth if you know that at your core you've got bandwidth restrictions. So you're welcome to configure those as you need to. And again, once you hit save, that conference becomes created. When anyone dials into this one, because it's got a member in it, as soon as we were to dial into that conference bridge, all members get called. So it's a nice way to trigger an on-time start to a meeting. Fairly powerful tool. There is obviously a scheduler, so if you want to reserve ports, our recommendation is you just typically buy enough ports for the density of calling that you have. But let's say you've got a big meeting come up and you don't want people to do ad hoc bridging and take away that capacity. What you would do in this environment is you'd actually reserve those ports via the scheduler. Once you've done that scheduler, those ports are yours, which is what I did for this particular meeting. So I knew we were going to have at least 5 participants in this meeting, and so I locked in port capacity. What that would have done for anyone who dialed in on an ad hoc meeting is drop them from the bridge after giving them a very polite but very clear 10-minute warning that their call was going to end. So very high-level overview on the bridge. Mike, I know you had to take a customer care call in the midst of that, so I don't know if Alex, you, or Mel have anything to add around content for bridging or why we love it. Before I hang up, I will talk just a little bit more about where these bridges come together, but I'll give you or anyone else, Mike, an opportunity to say something. So again, bridging, we're on it, so it should make sense. You're seeing it, so it should be intuitive, but it's really about multi-party calls. Our key questions: how many and how often? Who are you going to talk to and how often are you going to do it? If you already have your own bridge, we're glad to integrate with it. And the LifeSize UBC platform makes that easier. If you're not interested in any of the infrastructure side of this or any of the setup or deployment and you just want to buy ports, we absolutely love and know, and we could sell a lot of that Easy Meeting or Zoom or Blue Jeans infrastructure. And it's those service providers that are really busting it out and making it this easy. What I've shown here is really easy to me because I do it every day. And the way you purchase will really dictate which direction we take you. At the top of the call, I talked about our promises, and it's one, never to waste your time. And if you feel like you have, we need to know. And that comes with a we'll pay for your time kind of guarantee. The other piece of this is that we want to make sure that we're adding value in your review. If that purchase doesn't lead to an immediate demonstrable TCO or total cost of ownership, if we can't look at that and say over time we're going to be the lowest, let us know that we're not fulfilling that promise. When we look at return or return on investment, we'll also sit down with you and calculate when we know this will pay for itself, because you're already paying for these communications infrastructures. You're just paying from elsewhere. So we're not asking you to spend any new money. We're just asking you to spend the same money differently. And to back that up, John and I have promised that if you're buying something worth more than $50,000, and quite frankly, depending on the right deal, we'd do it even for a lower one. If we can't show you within a year that we're on track to have this thing prove a return on investment, we'll pay you back on the margin that we made on the deal. We're that confident that we can make a difference in the way you communicate and how you use video, that we shouldn't be in business, or we shouldn't take your money if we can't prove that against your purchase. So if you want to talk to me about any more about that or joining our channel program, you can reach me at Randy Marcotte. It's 516-282-2812. Let us know how we can help. Let us know. Cheers.